Alright, time for my semi-finals game of this month's MSEM GP. This is the grudge match against Aanginer, who is on Phoenix. And as I have mentioned during my first game with against my opponent, this is a very polarized matchup. Like, we're both quite even in what we can do to screw each other over. And I have the higher seed, so that's good for me because this deck definitely wants to be on the play. So since my opponent's playing a graveyard deck, I have Sacrificial Bowl, so that thing screws over graveyard decks. But if I don't draw a Sacrificial Bowl and my opponent manages to go off, then I can't really do much to interact with their board afterwards. So this hand has one draw, or like has one mana ramp, but does not have things to ramp into. I think I should definitely be hardballing for some sort of graveyard interaction, so I think I have to mulligan this. Oh, okay, that's not good. Okay, so I think I'm willing to go down to 5. Well, this thing does have graveyard interaction, so I guess I keep this. It doesn't have turn 1 wrap though, so that like defeats the main benefit I get from being on the play, but I guess that's fine. I need to keep this anyways. I actually need to try to find my... I need to like draw my third land because otherwise I can't cast my 3 drops, but yeah. So at least Ultimate Surveyor can shuffle away like an early start. That comes down to it. Anyways, so Lumbering Hillock, pass. Not the ideal turn 1 play, but I can't complain too much about I am hardballing for having Ultimate Surveyor in hand, so that's to be expected. My opponent cannot get Phoenix down on... Well, I top deck Sackbow, so that's convenient. The problem with playing out Sackbow right now is that it just gets killed by a Distant Thunder, and like I really do not want that to happen. Okay, so like if I play Sackbow and it gets Distant Thundered, what happens? Nothing too bad. Or no, it's like pretty bad. I think it might be worth it to just Ultimate Surveyor away 2 cards. Like, it does slow them down quite a lot. And like, I'm hoping to at least draw into more stuff. Nightmare Riders is like also doing mill stuff. Yeah, I think it's probably worth just doing this now. Do I need to also blow up the clue? I don't think I do, or do I? Actually, yes, I think I need to shuffle. I should shuffle away their entire graveyard. And then do I blow up the clue? Like, how much? I guess I have Karn on, so I do care about like not giving my opponent too many creatures. Yeah, I'll let them have the clue, I guess. And they're going to play Bilge Crab. That's fine. They're going to play Oracle's Vision. That's actually good for me because it might get me into stuff. Okay, they milled 3 lands off the top, and they found Whisper Woods, which they can keep getting back to hand. And they're milling a bunch of cards now. Yeah. I mean, on the bright side, like, there's lots of lands in graveyard now, so if I have, oh dear. Stuck on 2 lands, they have latent potential. Okay, so they could just go off now, and I can't do much to stop that. Unfortunately, I can't really do anything other than playing out Ramsey right now, and hoping that my opponent doesn't go too nuts while I'm tapped out. Yeah, this is not looking good for me. But on the bright side, they don't have a Phoenix in the yard. I mean, it doesn't matter, they can just discard a Phoenix, or mill over a Phoenix somehow, and then now I'm dealing, yeah, like Read from Chaff, just 3 cards. If they mill over Phoenix, okay, they still don't have a Phoenix in the graveyard. They don't have enough mana to get back 2 Phoenixes and also latent potential of them, so that's good at least. Unquenched Greed, yeah, I think they're just trying to get back Myoga Firebird now. When they discard 2 Phoenixes, they could either discard or mill over 2 Phoenixes, and that'd be bad. They're going to, yeah, they're just going to loot a bunch and get back the 1 Myoga. I mean, it could be worse, I guess. Yeah, it definitely could be worse because it's only a single Myoga Firebird, but the problem right now is that I have no way to deal with it. Or I guess my way of dealing with it is to have to minus Karn to kill. Yeah, that's not looking good for me. I think, yeah, mulling to 5 is really painful, especially since it's like I have the advantage on the play, but I did not get a hand that did not let me take full advantage of it. The problem right now is that I need to get Myoga Firebird. I need like a hasty guy off the board because latent potential just kills me. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, yeah, this is, or is it enough to kill me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I could play Sackbow and hold up Sackbow. That's not good. Okay, Karn. Does Karn do anything? I can Karn minus to grab Bessie's Brood. Bessie's Brood kills Myoga Firebird. That's not good. That's not useful. They just get back Cinder, Feather, Phoenix, and then latent potential it, and whack me for 1,000,000. Like, I need to get Sackbow down. I wonder if maybe they just didn't have a Distant Thunder in hand that game. In which case, I probably should have gotten Sackbow down earlier, but yeah. In which case, if I got down Sackbow and it stick or it survived the turn, I could have gotten rid of the 2 Phoenixes, but then I would be. I guess I could have played Ramsey and then held up 1 Sackbow activation to get rid of this Phoenix. Yeah, maybe I should have done something differently. So, how do I prevent myself from losing horribly? They can just Cinder Feather, relive, target 1. I need to Sackbow it in response. They just relive, target the other one. If they have another land, they just win here. I guess I need to bank on them not having another land drop from hand. I still take a bunch, but then that at least lets me try to stabilize afterwards. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm still dead to Phoenixes just attacking normally, so it's like I don't think there's really a way out for me right now. I have to let through because I can't afford to let them relive their latent. Okay, they have enough mana to do everything they want to do. Yeah, I'm just dead here. They're going to Distant Thunder. Interesting. You're going to do that first. Okay, so that means they can only do 1 latent potential. Is that still too much? Well, I can't stop latent potential from happening because they have 2 really lived and 2 latent. So I just let this happen. There's no benefit for me to letting it trying to do anything in response. And they're going to relive and latent potential. Okay, I can't do anything about that. And they get latent potential off, and I'm just dead, right? There's what? I'm not. This isn't lethal yet, but they can just reanimate other Cinder Feather Phoenix, and I'm dead. Actually, I could have Sackbowed the Cinder Feather in response. Okay, maybe that was a misplay then. I'll be down at 2 life, and then they do this combo again next turn, and I'm still stuck at not enough mana to do anything. So, not sure if that would have helped at all. Anyways, so at least I have a really good sideboard plan against my opponent. Bring in all these guys, bring out the guys that won't help me. So basically, I don't need Outgreen with Outriders because this is not that type of game. Actually, do I even need? Okay, Rova's not good. I might not need the recalls. Recall might be too slow in this matchup. I just gun for getting my hate pieces down. I don't actually have a good way to win. No, Vivian is my win con. Or out of control Sackbow is also a win con. Is this what I'm going for? I could also split the Pelscott. I mean, there's one benefit to boarding out all my blue cards in that I don't have to fetch blue anymore. And I think that's worth it over whatever else I'm doing. There's also Sign of Silence, but it only stops Yoga Firebirds. It doesn't stop Cinder Feather Phoenix because Cinder Feather Phoenix makes a token, so I can't name the token. I think I run this and hope to get early Sackbow. Okay, that's not a good draw. That's, I guess I need to keep this, and then I just hope that Tau is enough to slow them down at least somewhat. Tau is just going to die to a removal spell, which is the main problem here. And also, if I want to go down to 5 to look for 1-drop into a ramp, or 1-drop ramp into a hate piece. The problem with that plan is that the hate piece just dies to a single removal spell, and there's not much I can do about that. I mean, at least this stops them somewhat. It doesn't even stop them. All the removal is instant, so I mean, I can tell naming it instant, so that forces Tau to stick around on board a bit more. But how many sorceries instants do they run compared to sorceries? They can just go off unimpeded mostly. I mean, it prevents them from removing Tau efficiently. And then the turn afterwards, I get down Kernon, and then try to do Kernon snag. I guess it's worth keeping. I really don't like this hand, but I also don't want to go down to 6, even though I probably should be going down to 6, because this is the sort of matchup that requires that sort of line of thinking. Okay, they're turn 1 Nebula. I assume they're just looting right now. Yep, lead from Chaff. So, Tau naming instant, right? I've already committed to doing that plan, because, well, at least I have lands for... If Kernon survives, I can Vivian, and Vivian does somewhat stabilize me. So Tau naming... Okay, so I need to play around 3 Fire Erasers and 4 Distant Thunders. If they have any of those instant speed removals, Tau is basically useless. If I just name sorcery, because they just kill Tau so they don't even waste mana on the same turn. I think I have to name instant here, because otherwise that's such a bad use of Tau. So at least I have this guy to block the Phoenixes. I guess that's my logic here. Yeah, okay, I'll name instant. So they can if they want to kill Tau, they need to pay extra mana for it. But if they don't, they could just choose not to kill Tau right now and just keep doing their combo thing. That's the problem with Tau against my opponent's deck. It doesn't hit both parts. It doesn't hit the removal spells. Or if I wanted to hit removal, it doesn't actually do that. They discard Beneath the Zadina, which protects them against Sackbow. They play Glimpse Beyond. So they're probably thinking about doing Myoga Firebird shenanigans next turn. Is there anything I can turn on into? I can turn on into Henry, which taxes both sides. Yeah, I just draw, but then that sacks my Kernon, and then I have nothing to do next turn, which is bad. Yeah, play a ramp deck that just doesn't draw into its ramp is not good. So Kernon minus into Henry. Henry forces them to at least pay 2 mana, which prevents Myoga Firebird for a turn. Alternatively, like if I just had another creature out right now, Kernon would have been a lot better. Does any of Kernon's other abilities do anything? I can Kernon plus and then hold back Tau to block one of the Myoga Firebirds. So like Kernon dies to a single, so the Kernon dies to removal, and then I have to top deck something to deal with the 2 Firebirds that are coming down. Yeah, like this is the sort of game where I really would have appreciated a random Nitrous Renewer, because then I can sack it to Kernon. But so now what? Because playing it safe right now just means my opponent gets back 2 Myoga Firebirds, and that does not bode well for me at all. If I try to Kernon sack the Tau into another Tau to name sorcery, they just kill Tau with their instant speed removal, and then they just go off unimpeded that turn. I guess there's technically the third option of just letting the Firebirds come down. Does that do anything? I don't think that's like good for me at all, letting the Firebirds come down. So then I'm looking at Kernon plus on my turn, but to 4 loyalty. Okay, so Kernon minus sacking this to grab Henry at least prevents them from getting Firebirds next turn, right? Sure, like they get to kill my Henry and then play another spell, and then I have to hope to top deck something. Is that better than just letting them have 2 Firebirds? Because like, so if Henry gets dealt with, the board's still empty, right? So then I have to hope to top deck something next turn, because Vivian cannot stabilize against 2 Firebirds on its own. I mean, there's some pretty decent top decks I could find. I guess I'll go for that plan. Like, it's probably not a great plan, but it's better than the alternative, right? Because the alternative is that I just let them have the Firebirds. Yeah, okay. I mean, best case scenario, they don't actually have removal in hand, and this does do stuff against them. But I'm pretty sure they have removal in hand. They got 7 removal spells, and they haven't played a single one. They have 7 cards in hand. Like, they very obviously have removal somehow, and they're going to use it seems like. Yep. So that prevents Firebirds for 1 turn. They're going to mill some more cards. So 1, 2, 3. So like, I need to top deck something here, because otherwise I'm staring down 2 Firebirds next turn. Sackbow does do it. It gets rid of one of these guys. Ramsey is not going to do it. Okay, so worst case scenario, they get 2 Firebirds. Worst case scenario, they get a Firebird and then latent potential it, and I'm dead. But assuming that doesn't happen, what do I do? I got a Ramsey. Ramsey in play can Ramsey attach it to Forest. So play this tapped. Ramsey next turn try to jam Vivian. Vivian kills one of the Firebirds and draws me a card. I don't think that's actually enough to stabilize, but maybe Vivian flips into once his Firebirds are in play, I can't really answer them. Yeah, I think this is a lost game. I don't really see how I'm getting out of this. Like, maybe I could have played stuff different. So like, if I play Tau naming instant, so if Tau gets killed, they draw some cards. Then afterwards, I play out. It slows my opponent's looting for 1 turn, I guess, if I did that instead of the other option. Okay, they found Cinder Feather Phoenix too. They're probably not reanimating it this turn though, because they got the Firebirds to get back first. But like, Vivian is not going to survive against a bunch of Firebirds. Maybe they don't have another spell to use. No, they have Relive Reality, so of course they have another spell to use here. So I can find another Tau, I guess. So yeah, definitely should have mulliganed to 5 this game to look for better answers to my opponent's stuff. Can't do anything against my opponents. Going off right now. They're going to play Oracle Visions, apparently. Okay, there's the 2 Firebirds. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, why couldn't I have gotten these cards? Okay, so I still have a Death in Bloom. If Death in Bloom comes down, I can... okay, they got 2, but never mind. So Sackbow is useless now. Yeah, this game's definitely not going to plan. Is there any way I can get out of this? Like, because Vivian's not going to save me here. The 2 Beneath the Zadinas is not doing anything. I boarded out I boarded out on my Greenwood Outriders, so I can't just lethal them from nowhere. Well, I'm not sure what I need, but it probably starts with Vivian something. I'll grab the Heart of the Glade because why not? Yes, grab a Forest. Play Vivian or do the correct sequencing into Vivian. So I can still play a 2-drop, but I don't know if there's any 2-drop that saves me here. But play this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Petal Scatter. That's not enough. Use other guys have flying, so no point in blocking. I need to minus Vivian here to... Or can I outrace them? What? I take 9 next turn. They could possibly throw more damage at me somehow. I could try to bluff that I have Greenwood Outrider. Okay, so maybe I kind of regret taking out Greenwood Outrider because Greenwood Outrider would have actually bailed me out of this game because I'm pretty sure Greenwood would have lethaled on this board state, but I didn't do that, so I guess Vivian's minusing to kill that, and then Vivian dies, and then what? They just get back Firebird, right? So it doesn't even matter. So I should just be plussing Vivian anyways. Yeah, they have 7 cards in hand, so they can definitely get back They can definitely get back Firebird if they want to, or maybe they don't. Oh, anyways, I just do this, and I guess I hope for the best. And they're going to, yep, just going to, oh, they have latent potential. They have it. Okay, cool, yeah. All right, sure. So that did not work out very well. I think it was just, okay, so like if I went to 5, what would I've caught? I mean, it would have actually been more disastrous, never mind. Yeah, so, I think the moral of the story here is that when you're playing this deck, you kind of need to get hands that have one drop rampers in their opening. Because if you don't, then you just fall behind super fast. Yeah, and even though this deck is very teched against my opponent's deck, or randomly teched against my opponent's deck, because I wasn't intending to tech super hard against my opponent's deck, but I randomly ended up being having a pretty good sideboard against my opponent because Hate Bears are pretty good turn-on targets, but Tal doesn't actually do enough against instant speed removal, and Henry would have actually done stuff if I had something else on board. Like, oh, do I replays, please? All right, so looking at the replays, game 1, so my first hand did have a turn on ramper, but nothing to ramp into. I think like against a slower matchup, I would have actually kept this hand because like my deck really wants to ramp up fast early, and I could just eventually top deck my payoffs. And also I had Crumbling Shrine, I had like this thing fetching Lumbering Hillock, so like I had things to sink my mana into if I don't get any action. But the problem is that my opponent is playing a very fast deck that requires very specific interaction, so this sort of hand is not keepable against them. So like I went down to 2, and yeah, that's not also not keepable because literally nothing before turn 3. Like that's way too slow, and then I settle on this hand. Yeah. Did my opponent have removal for Sackbow? No, I didn't draw Sackbow. Or I draw Sackbow on turn 2. So the main decision point here was, do I play Alton or do I play Sackbow? I ultimately decided on Alton because I was afraid Sackbow was going to get removed immediately without getting any value. But turns out my opponent did not have removal in hand, or actually, did they draw removal like the turn afterwards? Okay, so like I Alton away their cards. They didn't have. Okay, so I would have matched on tap with Sackbow without it getting removed. Would that have been better for me? So like what? Assuming I had Sackbow out, then like what? They go nuts. Well, I mean Sackbow would have been guarding the Myoga Firebird from coming down. Okay, they did find Distant Thunder there though, so Distant Thunder would have forced me to use up 2 Sackbow activations to protect it, and then that would have left me tapped out. I mean, like if I had Sackbow out, I also needed to leave it up, which means I don't get to play out Ramsey unless I play Ramsey and leave up 1 Sackbow activation here, which I guess maybe it would have been fine. Like what? They tried to Distant Thunder my Sackbow and force me to use it. I used up the land aura, exiled their Firebird. No, that's still bad because then I'm still stuck at 2 lands, and then I just don't get to do anything turn afterwards. Yeah, especially with this draw. Okay, so I think getting stuck on 2 lands kind of just killed me. Or I mean, also wanting down to 5, and my opponent also just getting a good draw, I guess. And then game 2, I had another. Okay, so my first hand is unkeepable, and then second hand I decided to keep, even though it didn't have a 1-drop, because I did not want to risk myself going down to 5. Because even if I had a 1-drop ramper, I wasn't guaranteed to always draw into a hate piece. And the way this matchup plays out, I can't just ramp into anything. I need to ramp into stuff that can get me to hate pieces. And meanwhile, my opponent has my opponent just went off. So I guess here also there was a decision point between instant or sorcery. I ended up naming instant because I wanted to protect Tau, but I guess okay, they did have distant thunder. Like in this sort of situation, if I named sorcery, they just immediately distant thunder it, and then they still get to go off. I guess they would be like down, but they went wheat and then went glimpse beyond. So like they would be down one glimpse beyond, but then I have to play Kurn onto an empty board in this board state. They will still have Firebird down, and then the turn afterwards, like yeah, I drop turn afterwards, I drop Kurn onto an empty board, and then they have like so they would have the glimpse beyond in hand, so then they can just glimpse and then glimpse into relive into another glimpse, and then they always get Firebirds back. They probably just kill Kurn on, and then I go into turn 4 with literally nothing, and then I probably just lose that game. So I don't think either game was winnable with how the games went. And I mean, like this kind of just shows how swingy this matchup is, because like in my first in the games against Aanginer and Swiss, I managed to beat them because I think they got sort of poor draws, and then I managed to get nut draws that like in game 1 I got one drop Rampart into Sackbow, and I don't think they had, and then my Sackbow managed to get out of control while they had no ways to remove it. And then I think and then the other 2 games, I also think I got pretty lucky. I think this is more, I think this game is like the usual way this matchup plays out. Like I mentioned, I remember mentioning how I said that this matchup isn't that bad, like we're roughly even because due to all the hate pieces, but I think this matchup is actually pretty tilted in my opponent's favor, because basically the range of draws that my opponent, that lets my opponent win is greater than the range of draws that lets me win. Like my opponent just needs to play an average game. It just needs to get an average draw, because if my opponent gets an average draw and my deck and their deck just gets to run my deck over, meanwhile my deck needs to like get very specific hate pieces to prevent their deck from doing their thing. So I think this is like actually a return to form. But yeah. Well, anyways, I guess I'll see you next month then. I might just be rerunning Ramp again. I'm not sure. I was planning on building some more decks, but I just never got around to it. So maybe I just rerun Ramp, because Ramp has always worked out for me. And I mean, I like playing this deck. Kurn definitely adds a lot. Like Kurn definitely adds a lot more power to the Ramp deck, because now you can actually play a Hate Bear package. So it gives the Ramp like some semblance of before the Green Sun Zeniths were nerfed. But anyways,